Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Tuesday, the 7th of July. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought we'd talk about how do you handle customers? And some people just don't get it right, and then others hit it square, the nail on the head. Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Tuesday, the 7th of July of 2026. Probably the most important aspect of running a shop isn't how well you turn the wrenches. It's how well you can communicate and create dialogues with your customer, right? And what I tend to do is I take a customer and turn them into a friend. And my philosophy behind that is friends try to help other friends, right? And that means when they bring it to you, they're investing in you as well. I've heard so many people say, well, if it wasn't for the repair guy, you know, who would do it? But in our area, there's four different shops. They got four choices, five if you count doing it themselves. So if they come to me, that tells me that they're willing to take a chance on me. And for that, I'm greatly appreciative. And you're going to say, why would you be appreciative that a customer come to you? Because they had five other or four other options that they could have taken. I've had more than one customer come and talk to us and look at the shop and look at how we do stuff before they even dare to have us come get their equipment. And it's because they've been scared that they've had shops in the past that didn't know what they were doing and weren't creating a dialogue with that customer of where they trusted us or trusted the shop that they had gone to. You know, we had one such guy. He come over and he had his dog with him, and he just started talking with us. And I'm like, "Can I help you somehow?" And he said, "Well, I've been thinking about having my lawnmower serviced, but I'm a little nervous about setting it to just any old shop." He stayed here for an hour and a half visiting with us. And at the end of the hour and a half, he's like, "Can you pick it up?" He's been one of our best customers for the past 8 years. Yeah. My feeling is if I can get him into the door, between Claude and I, we can keep him. And we each have a different approach on how we handle customers. Claude is old school. It is what it is. And no guarantees, threshold guarantees. That's his usual saying. Me, no, I want my customer happy. So if we do a repair job and it goes out and something breaks, I feel obligated to take care of it. And you're going to say, why? You didn't break it. No, I didn't. But what I can tell you is it's kind of like investing in the future. All right. You can either go out and buy stocks and bonds and IRAs and all that right now, and then in 10 years see them grow so that you make a few bucks on it. If you're lucky with the inflation, you probably go backwards. But if I have a customer run into something and they break something and they get a hold of me, if it's not too expensive on my end, we go ahead and do it and don't bill the customer. And you're probably thinking that's the most asinine thing to do, Eric. Why would you not bill the customer? Because I'm investing in our future. I guarantee you that that customer knows that they broke that and they're responsible for breaking it. But the mere fact that we showed up, took care of it, got it back to them within a couple days, and they're back mowing again, and I said no charge, they will not go anywhere else. They will not look for another shop. They will not want to do it themselves. They found a place that treats them well and that they're going to continue to come back to, and that they're also going to tell all their friends about. That's what I mean by investing in the future. Is some jobs just go ahead and if it's not that big of a deal, go ahead and do it and have the shop cover it. And you're going to say, well, that's wasted money. No, it's not. You guys spend money on advertising. I don't. That's the best advertising I can get is word of mouth from customers that I have right now that love us and are willing to put our name out there. Yesterday, we picked up 2 new customers because 2 of our old customers had recommended us. Yes, I get more leads and more customers from the customers I have than any other venue, whether it's Facebook or you know YouTube, nothing. But if I take care of my customers and I make them feel valued, which they are very much so, they in turn will continue to try to invest in you. And the thing is they don't want to see you not succeed because they finally found a place that can take care of all their needs when it comes to their lawn and garden stuff. We work on tractors too. And we had a customer who's been a friend of mine for years now. And we've worked on his stuff for years. He changed jobs last year because he wanted something that was good health insurance, retirement, and all that. Up until then, he'd been working construction, a lot of overtime, paving company, a lot of overtime. So I knew that the income was a lot less than what he's used to. And Claude spent, I would say, a number of hours trying to get his tractor fixed. And it ended up being a basically $5 part in the end. And the customer asked me, he said, Eric, how much do I owe you? And I said, it's $70 fair. And he said, no. I'm like, uh-oh. He has wallet out and he said, are you still willing to take my tractor to, it's about 30 miles away. And I said, yeah, I told you I'd do it for you. What are you going to charge for that? I said, I'm not. So he counted out $300 in $20 bills and said, this is a down payment on the work you've gotten done in the trucking, and let me know how much more do I owe you. I said, you didn't hear right. He said, yeah, I heard what you said, but I'm saying, I listened to Claude. He told me how many hours he had involved in trying to get that thing to, and he said, I tried and I couldn't get it. So I'm thrilled that you guys were able to, even if it was going to cost me 800 to 1,000. What kind of customer do you want? You want a customer that is willing to give you more than what you quoted to them, or bitch and complain and try to get you down? I love the customers that feel like we value them, and in turn, they want to invest in us and keep us going. We've been pretty steady, and we're still going pretty steady, and which is, by now usually it starts dropping off. The summer just an occasional break here and there, but we've been doing pretty good. So knock on wood and thank the man upstairs, and definitely thank all my customers because they keep bringing me stuff. So what's the best way to approach customers? Because you're not sure when a new customer walks through the door how to approach them. And I always start off with, hey, how's it going? My name is Eric. How can I help you? And from there, I let them talk and I zip and listen to what they got going on. And we're like, I said, hold on, let me grab Claude. So Claude, I get him to come up and told him, okay, now repeat. Start where you were, and because you got a mechanic standing right here too now. So they do, and Claude's writing everything down that he's saying. If you want return customers, you need to show them that they're valued. If you don't look up, you don't talk, and you're just scribbling things down, what's your name, which phone number will call you when it's ready, and you're not willing to listen to what they have to say about their machine, they're going to leave apprehensive. They are. But if you take the time with them and hear them out and let them know, this is the way we do things. We start the cheapest and work our way. And if it starts looking like it's going to be, $100 or $200, I'll call you and run it by you first. That puts my customers at ease, my new ones, because they know that they're not going to get this unexpected big bill from the repair shop. None of my customers have ever been surprised by their bill in the end. Because if it starts building, I'm the one saying, I don't think it's worth putting into, but that's up to you. If they say yay, we'll go. But if it's nay, it's nay. That's get a diagnostic fee out of it and set it aside and move on to the next one. But I find it when I treat my customers like my friends and follow the philosophy of the way I do it is do unto others as I would hope to have done to me. Not what has been done to me, but what I hoped would have been done. And that translates to treating the customer with respect, camaraderie, finding common things that you can talk about and visit with. I like to hear about, them and their families. And a lot of my customers, I know the families now. We'll meet up in the store or something like that. And it's like, hey, Eric, this is my wife, my kids. And I love it. Because the thing I value most in life is the relationships that I have with others. Is money coming into the shop important? Absolutely. Without it, you can't keep the doors open, the lights on, right? But if you don't show an interest in others and you don't value relationships and you're kind of closed off to yourself, then you wonder why you're sitting there and nobody's around you. Good chances are it's your attitude and the way you approach things. Some people are very content with just sitting there by themselves. That's fine. If I'm going to sit there, I'd rather have a friend on each side of me so we could visit. I mean, yesterday they have like a waiting room at the cardiac rehab because used to be you get there at 12:30 and the girls would hustle you in. Well, yesterday they decided to wait until 1 minute after 1. So in the time that took place for that half hour, the waiting room started getting quite full, and I only knew one person there, but I was able to talk to each and every one of them. The one was getting a heart monitor for 7 days. I told her it's a cakewalk, just a little sticky thing, and how they do it. She said, well, how do you know? I said, because I had a quadruple heart bypass, and they had to put one on me it was a 2-day deal. So I asked the guy sitting next to her, I said, what are you in here for? And he said, oh, I got to have EKG. And I said, is there an issue with your heart? Or nope. He said that I got to have surgery in Syracuse to help with diverticulitis. And as part of the colon surgery on that, But I talked with him about that, and we talked about his father having a quadruple heart bypass and living until 87. And he said that's one of the most, what's the right word? Scariest surgeries going. He said, we almost lost dad. And I said, well, my kids almost lost me too. So I said, your dad's a fighter, was a fighter. But everybody in that waiting room, I was able to get everybody to talk with everybody. And we were having conversations back and forth about how the weather and this and that. When I first walked in, it was dead silent. Everybody was on their phones. I'm like, really? I don't have my phone. I leave it in the truck. I don't need to carry it with me. But if you can sit down in a room and make friends with everybody that's in that room, you're ahead of the group. You are. You have figured it out. That, and you can't fake it till you make it, okay? You can't fake that you're actually genuinely interested in somebody because it'll come across as a contorted face, right? But if you're genuinely interested, and I wish the guy with his surgery, he's having that today. I wished him well, and that he was telling me it was going to be all done robotically now. That I said, yeah, I see on the Discovery Channel how one doctor could be in Houston, Texas, running a unit robotically up here in New York, which is crazy. But hey, but if you go into a room full of people and you walk out of that room not knowing anybody or what's going on in their lives, then you probably shouldn't be in the service sector business, like any repair business or service oriented, or hire somebody that is. I've seen people that were very social, but lack common sense when it comes to business. So you got to have both. It's one of those deals that what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, what came first, being social or business sense? If you can intertwine the two of them together, that's your sweet spot. If you can't, you may have customers that love visiting with you, but you're not making enough money to keep the business open, or you're charging so much that it's pushing those customers away. Oh, we still like you. We want to visit with you, but we're going to take our work to John over here because he's cheaper. The cost per hour doesn't mean squat. It's the value in that hour. I'll use you, Jason. If you can get a job done in an hour and you're charging $100 an hour, okay? And I do the same job and I'm charging 60, but it takes me 2 hours to do that job. So now that job, if you come to me, is going to cost the customer 120. But if you go to Jason, you're going to only pay 100. I'm not saying that the higher rate shops are better mechanics. No, but you got to find one that is worth paying that kind of money for. And I can tell you, you're going to find a lot of good shops that can get a lot done in an hour at 65 to 70. In the comments, what do you guys think? The making them friends and being, you don't need to be a socialite and everything else, but you do need to be interested in other people. So on that note, you guys have a great Tuesday. We have 4 machines to pick up. I got to unload a tractor and brush hog. I got a tractor I got to go get that has a backhoe on it. Snow blower I got to put on the trailer. A DR fence line trimmer. Busy, busy, busy. And I also bought a 55-gallon drum of high-grade engine oil. So I want to get that home before we get too far. You guys have a great Tuesday.